And again, so everyone is aware, we are recording this session today. If you do not want to be recorded, you're more than welcome to drop off the call. Please make sure your microphones are muted. At any point in time during the training today, if you feel that you have a question, feel free to put it into the chat box or raise your hand where we can see it. That way we can get in there and hopefully get your questions answered. So again, please make sure your microphones are muted and we will go ahead and get started for today. Next slide. All right, so we are going to cover today updating contact information and homepage requirements. We're going to talk about accepting payments and uploading receipts. And then we're going to have some PM notes to close this out for the day. Slide. All right. So when each and every one of you are logging on to your home screen, there is something that's important that everybody should see on their home screen. This is what your home screen should look like in two things. You see all the other little boxes there, but the two items that you really need to pay attention to is that you have the invoicing and grades listed on there. If you do not have that on there, we're going to show you how you need to go ahead and put those on there. First, you're going to start by selecting on your home page, go up to school, and then select directory. Next slide, please. When you get on your school's directory, you want to make sure that it has the tabs for Army, invoicing, cool, allow students to view, and also grades. Make sure each and every one of those are selected. Also, you want to make sure, again, allow the student to view. So when you're going in and the soldier is going in trying to find out who they need to contact for general questions or who they need to contact about the payment, see if it's made and things of that item, it'll have your contact information listed there on who needs to have that info. Also, if you are a UAC for your vendor account, invoicing making sure that the finance part or the invoice part is selected allows the finance team to be able to contact the PLC for who to call to make the payments. So we want to make sure each and every one of these items are selected. Remember, Army, invoicing, cool, grades, and allow students to view. Next slide, please. Some important takeaways from that part right there. You want to make sure your information is updated frequently. That means if you have a new employee that just took over the account, or you have someone who may have left who's no longer associated with the Army CA account, or if you have phone numbers that change, or you have other information that needs to be updated, please make sure, I would say, go in there at least once or twice a month to go in there and make sure your information's up to date. If it's not, please correct it. If you have issues with it, the information listed below to the help desk, they can help you with it or reach out to us and we can see if there may be something that you may not have selected that you need to select. If we've got everything selected and it's still not showing up on your doc, i.e., the invoice and grades doc aren't there, you're going to need to contact the help desk. There's their information and their hours, their contact phone number, and their email address. So if you are going into your profile and you select help and you're not getting the help on the AI portal side, you can contact them directly. Do I have any questions on this part before we go to the next slide? Perfect. All right, next slide, please. All right. I think we're going to go straight to PM notes from there. So, Sophia, you've got it.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Sophia Sweeney. I'm the Credentialing Assistance Program Manager as well as the Army Cool Program Manager. Just want to hit some areas that we've been seeing that you all have had lots of issues with, right? So I want to go, well, actually, let me go ahead and go there. We're going to go ahead and start with pending, viewing pending cars. It's been a long day, had lots of meetings today, so see if I can get through this. All right, viewing pending cars. First thing you want to do is you log into the system. And then just like Russell stated, the key thing is to have these two boxes, invoices and grades. Extremely important that you have these two boxes. If you don't have these boxes, you need to ask or submit a help desk ticket to make sure you do have these boxes. If you are somebody that runs the credit cards or provides the grades, extremely important that you have this. If you don't, you absolutely need it. Sometimes it just takes for your UAC to give you those permissions, but if they have given them to you and you still can't see it, please make sure you ask for that to be added ASAP. The other thing is this little box up here. If you see this, and I mean, don't worry about it. Don't even bother trying to reaffirm. That has nothing to do with the Army side. That is strictly Air Force. So please just disregard. Nothing will happen if you have that showing on your screen. Key thing, making sure you have this online services tab up here, extremely important, right? Whatever you do, whenever you see these number of invoices that are, you see like there's 3 courses here or pending credit card charge, don't do anything from this homepage. Don't click into this box because it'll allow you to, but you're not going to create invoices. So don't click into these. You're only going to use these tabs up here as I show you here shortly. All right, so from here, here's the first way to view your pending cards. Now, not everyone can view it the 3 ways that I'm going to show. I don't know why, but it just doesn't happen for everybody, right? So I'm giving you 3 different ways to view pending cars. You'll find out which one works best for you or which actually works for you, okay? So online services, and then you go to manage invoices. From there, you're going to make sure you have the Army Ignited button for the partner system. Now, if you're just working for the Army, then that's totally fine. You're not going to see the Air Force one. But if you have multiple accounts, you'll see those multiple accounts there. So select Army Ignited. From there, you're going to click on pending payment, right? Not pending review, but pending payment. And this is going to be the first way that you can actually view a soldier's pending case. Now, when I say pending payment, that means that my team, the ACAPO team, have processed these cases and moved them over to finance for payment. They're not paid yet. They are just moved over to finance. And you can see them for as long, as long as an invoice hasn't been created by finance for that case, you'll see them here, okay? So once you do click on that search button after clicking on pending payment, anything that is pending will appear here. There is nothing to pay on this page, okay? Nothing to pay on this page. You're going to see invoice numbers. So they're all highlighted. There'll be like a little link. So if you clicked on them, it kind of gives you some more details. I'm sorry. But the second option to viewing pending cars is you're going to go to online services, print documents, and then you're going to see these 3 boxes, right? And they're going to show you like courses that are available for, or whatever the courses available are. That just means that there are pending cases to be paid, right? So you can click on any one of those. And then from here, you're going to see a list. Now, this document number is extremely important to remember, right? So showing you 3 different ways to track these cases because once they're moved, we do move in finance, but then once finance creates an actual invoice for the case, it'll disappear from any one of these 3 ways that you can view pending cases. Okay, they just disappear. So you have to be able to track them. You can see you can export them to Excel if you want, but tracking them is key, especially if you have a ton of soldiers submitting requests, right? And maybe it's like you might have 3 or 4 John Smiths. Well, this document number right here, this is their CA request number. That will help you with identifying, or you can use it that way if you'd like, It'll help you identify which soldier this belongs to. Okay. So from there, if you clicked on that document ID number, this is what's going to appear. All right. And this is just saying that basically this is right here. You can read it. ACAPO concurs pending finance payment. It has not been funded yet. It's just pending payment. But the key thing to be aware of on this this document is that you have the soldier's email address, you have the soldier's duty phone, their name, rank, just identifying information for you, and then like what it is that they're requesting, right? Then you got start dates, end dates, and the cost of the course. And again, if you do have questions, please feel free to raise your hand. I want this to be more of an interactive type of thing. If you know that you're stuck on something on this page or you're just not seeing it, let's talk about it. Let's get it all out there so that we can get your accounts fixed and you able to view these pending documents. Okay, well, that was quick. All right, so Kamika?
Hi, it's Kamika with NHA.
Kamika, sorry.
So with this form, is it possible that the exam and the training would be on here together, or does that still need to be separate?
This is going to be separate, right? These are individual CA requests. They're not, now when the authorization letter comes, you're going to see all of them listed in one place, but this is an individual CA request.
Okay, thank you.
Problem. Okay. Let's see, no there. Okay. So again, this is one way to track. Oh, go ahead, Brian.
Yes, I just wanted to clarify. So pending payment, this means that the payment will be made. It just hasn't been made yet. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yes, this is just that the soldier submitted their CA request. It came to my team. The team processed this case and says it's good to go to be funded, right? So then we move it over to finance. That's where they get this specific form.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No problem. I'm sorry, I forgot to let you know that we have team members on here. I see Kristen Clark. I see David Meadner. I think he was on here. And Melinda Guy. Those are three of our processors. They process all these cases, so your soldiers will always know these team members. Okay. All right, moving right along. Mika, your hand is still up. Do you have another question? Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. So moving on, here is the third option. And sometimes, you know, I hear that this works well for some vendors because if they go to the reports, so you go to school, you click on reports. Uh-oh. Not Mike. Thank you. All right. So you go to reports. From here, you're going to make sure you click on Army Ignited. And then you're going to scroll all the, oh, geez, sorry, all the way to the bottom of the page. Now, it might not, you know, it's not the school ratings, okay? It is the invoicing all the way at the bottom. So please make sure you click on Generate Report there. When you do that, you're going to see the list of CA requests with some, again, here is the CA request number. Okay, that's the document ID. For CA, you're going to see either training or exam. Now, if you happen to have like multiple accounts, maybe you're also offering TA courses, they're also going to show up here too. It just everything will show up. However, you will know it's a CA case because it'll say training or exam. All right, training or exam. You're going to see start and end dates, the course, the student's name, the course cost. Okay, and you can export that to keep for tracking records. If you keep this document number, you'll know exactly who it belongs to. Okay, when it comes authorization letter time, when they provide you that list of soldiers that they want you to charge their card for, this is a good way to identify who is who. Okay. The other thing I want to stress.
Sophia,
Yes.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. We had a question that just came in from Michelle Blunt with Auburn. She said if we have a payment that has been approved and we miss the opportunity to access a copy of the student's request, how would we access the student's information, etc.?
Yeah, that's a tough one, right? Because if you weren't able to view it prior to that and you have multiples, you're going to have to ask the person that's on the authorization letter. You'll have to ask them for who that student is so they can give you the specifics like, okay, this is actually John R. Smith versus John L. Smith, right? So that's the only other way you can get that information is by replying back to them to ask them that. And I'll show you the email where you can get that email as well. Okay. And then Rachel said, other than being able to separate soldiers with the same name, is there any other reason we should be tracking the document ID, CA request number? No, no other reason. It's just a way to help you identify who is who. But if that is not something you need to track, you don't have to. Just pointing out something that is a way to distinguish whose case belongs to who. And I see a hand. Yep, no problem. Go ahead, Eileen.
Hi, I've had two people say they've been approved, and I look in here almost every day, and I'm never finding their payment info, and I feel like nothing's happening. I haven't had a payment since March, an invoice go through. So I don't know what's going on.
Okay, no issues. So a couple of things. Sometimes they will say they're approved, but they could be talking about they were approved for the goal and never submitted the CA request. But if you would like, I saw that Kristen added the CA email box. Yeah, I think you added that, right, Kristen? It's in there somewhere. The email address. Send me the names of the soldiers that you think. Thank you, Kristen. That you think were or told you that they're approved. I will look just to make sure that there's nothing wrong. Like if they did get approved and moved to finance for payment, and you don't see them, and I see them in the system as, yeah, okay, it should have been in your queue, then we know that there's an issue with your account and we can fix it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I mean, I can't fix it, but help desk can fix
Right.
it. But at least we can identify where the issue is.
I'm glad you have these classes.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad you like them. Okay. So moving right along. Okay, so yeah, there's just that way. Again, you can export this one. Can you please put your computer on mute, please? Thank you. All right, so that's another way. So those are 3 ways to view pending requests. Do we have any questions about the 3 ways? You could either do them by report, school reports, and then you do the generate report. Okay, there's one. Second option is print documents. Okay, so online services, print documents, select one of those boxes, click on the document number and get this. Okay, that's the second way. And then the first way is, again, online services, manage invoices, Ignited, pending payment, search, and you can see them there. Okay, so I see the question, do we still receive no notification of a payment being ready to be made? Unfortunately, Kristen, no, not yet. That is in the backlog. We hope to get that up and running soon so that you can actually get notifications instead of having to check every single day. That is something in the works. But until that time, we really need you to check daily or weekly, at least a few times a week, to see if there's any pending payments, so that you can track that, or any authorization letters, okay? We have been, because we noticed there is some vendors not responding at all to authorization letters being submitted in the system. Now, with that, we've been sending like last notices, right? Like, hey, just letting you know, you have some pending cases in there, need you to make your payments or accept your payments, or else they will be rejected, right? So that is something we've been doing. We will continue that until we know there is a notification, but notification sent, like the notification can go out to you all, right? Until that time, we'll kind of keep doing that if we notice you're not looking, but please look, because it will be very quick and fast turnaround if we have to send a message for you to charge the card. All right. Okay, moving on to invoices, right? Invoices. Again, online services, manage invoices. Remember, do not touch this at all. I should put a big old X right here. You want to see this box, but you do not ever want to touch it, right? Because all it does is try to make you create an invoice, and that is not what we need you to do. Okay, so you're going to go online services, manage invoices. You're going to click on processed. This is where, okay, first you make sure you're an Army Ignited, and then processed. Very important to be here. Just remember, when you're here and you actually, or after you hit search, and you see something here, you will no longer be able to see it anywhere else. It is gone from the other 3 options on how to view pending requests. It is right here only, okay? So from here, you got to click on one of the invoice numbers, and then you have this payment tab. Now, here's where we've had issues where vendors are saying, I don't have that tab. Okay, so this is where it's extremely important that you pay attention and ask or submit a help desk ticket for this. If you don't see the payment tab, submit a help desk ticket and request they update your permissions to include finance technician. This is something new. We can't see it on our end. We just found out because another vendor had this issue. So that is what they were told to, that was the issue, is they had to include finance technician. So please make sure to, ask for this. Once they add that to your account, you will see this payment tab if you're the person that accepts the payments. Okay. So again, from here, click on the payment tab, and then you will see the authorization letter. This authorization letter is where you're going to find your credit card information. So if you download that, this is what you see, okay? There's the GPC information for you to run. This is you running the credit card off of this. Doesn't matter if you ran somebody else's card previously, you must only run what is on this form, okay? There's also an email, and it'll tell you who it is that that's the card that you're charging, okay? And that is who you'll be asking for when you submit a message to them if you have any issues. All right, so if there's any issues, you contact them here so that they can, figure out what's going on. Could be that expired that day or the day before, and they need to reinitiate it or whatever. But come up on the net ASAP so that they don't reject, right? So they are giving more than 48 hours. It is prior to the actual start date because we know that some people are having issues with their accounts, okay? So please make sure to run it as soon as you get it, right? That way this will be done. Now, like I was telling you, the second page that comes with this document, this authorization letter, it only gives you, again, the document ID number. This is the CA request number, student's name, the word training or exam, the start and end dates, and the amount. Okay, so if you can't figure out who this one is based off of the information that you receive, then again, that's where the reviewing or tracking all those pending payment cases or Excel spreadsheet that you can export, that's where this comes in handy. Okay. If there are multiples, you can charge them all at one time, right? This is what finance has said. So just so you know. Okay, any questions here before we move on to receipts? I'm receiving questions about how long it takes to get approved and be able to test. Okay, so that's a good question. And it is going to be basically it should take at least up to the start date to get funded. I can't answer for whether it takes a few days or, whatever, because finance has their own process and how they create these invoices and when they make these payments. Sometimes it could be early, sometimes it could be the day of. We've had some that have gone past the start date, unfortunately, but of course there was some issues with that. So I really can't answer your question of exactly when. You do know that the cases that are pending, they are getting to finance at least a couple to few weeks in advance. Does start dates still need to be 45 days out? Yes, they do, right? From the submission date. So that is not changed yet until we have more automation and more systems in place for this to go smoother than what it is right now. We still are at the minimal viable products at this point. So just like you don't have any notifications, that takes time. And we do everything manually on our end still, unfortunately. So it still remains as 45 days until, again, till we get some more automation and more, basically more automation. Okay, and then Kamika says, is it such a thing of applying too soon? For example, someone wants a test in September. Is this too soon for them to submit now? So it is 45 days from the submission date, right? So if I submitted something today, my start date cannot be less than 45 days from today. But I also cannot select a start date that is more than 90 days out. Okay, so yeah, I would have to count the days or let's see, May, June, July, August. It may be a little too early to submit something for September. I'm not 100% sure. But yes, good. I'm glad you got that one. Jack asked, can we send the quote without the training dates? And the answer is, you need to have at least an expiration date. You don't have to have the start and end dates, but you do need to have at least an expiration date so that we are not pushing through some quotes that are like 3 years old. I'm glad you can, because it was going to take me a long time, Kamika. I was taking my shoes off and everything. But Jack, I hope that helps. Right, you can absolutely do that. You don't have to have start and end dates. And I'm glad you said that, because we're getting conflicting messages, and sometimes, unfortunately, it is given out by education counselors who have told vendors, oh, you need a start and end date, but that is not true. And so I will tell you that ed centers have nothing to do with the processing of CA requests. They shouldn't be offering information on what vendors need to be doing. So if you run into these situations, please feel free to let us know, because we have heard that sometimes they're giving out information that is conflicting to what we put out. And again, ACAPO is the only place that processes cases, CA requests. There is no obligation for SODR to go to the Ed Center, and we pay everything in the same office. Okay. So Ned said, can our team put the training costs and exam cost as separate items on the same quote. We had one of our quotes rejected, stating it was bundled. That is a bundle, Ned. You cannot do that, unfortunately. You will have to separate the quotes. Kristen said the expiration date is for the quote, right? Yes, yes, that is just for the quote. Uh-oh. Let me see. I can barely see that. As follow up to my last chat text, we got this message back. Oof. I don't think I can read that.
I got it,
Please.
Sophia.
What does it say?
It says, please contact your vendor to get a separate quote for each course exam and books and materials. Please go back to the system and resubmit with correct information. We apologize for the inconvenience. I
Thank
got
you.
these new bifocals. They're working great.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I might need to borrow those. So that is correct, Ned. If you added the same items on one quote, it will be rejected. They must be separated. And that is in the CA policy and the benefits training that the SODers receive. So they do receive that information and should have reflected that as well. I hope that answered your question. Okay, good. Okay, and then Ramona said, please repeat the 45 and 90-day guidelines. Yes, so a soldier must submit their CA request 45 days from when they submit. So today, if I submit it, it's going to be a month and a half from now that they can actually select a start date. And then they cannot go more than 90 days out from today for a start date, right? So if they try to submit something for, I'm going to say October, they would not be able to do it. The system will block them from doing that. Okay. So I hope that answers your question. And Cameron said, I was helping a student sign up. They couldn't select us as a training provider, and I didn't see that step in the slideshow either. Is that no longer a part of signing up? Is picking the training provider? That is Cameron, that is an actual part of the CA request. Where they wouldn't be able to select a vendor is if they're submitting their goal. So if they are doing like just saying they're selecting a specific credential, they're never going to see you as a vendor yet, right? Once that part gets approved and they submit or they start moving towards the next step, which is the CA request, that is when they will start seeing vendors to select. Okay, so I hope that helps.
And that's also if as long as they have courses uploaded as well.
Oh, that is true. If you don't have any courses, they'll be able to select you as a vendor, but they just won't be able, they'll have to do everything else manually. So M. Hardy said, but the start date is not required, correct? So it's simpler just to leave it blank. So Mr. Hardy or M. Hardy, I think, you don't have to add a start or an end date, just as long as you have an expiration. Now, if you do have, if you have like hard start dates and they must take, then absolutely add the start and end date. Okay. All right. So Suzanne said, sometimes SODers upload a screenshot with the educational goal before contacting us. I got several SODers tell me they can't upload a new educational goal or correct the document. It's helped us the only way to get that corrected. So it's only one goal per. So let's just say I'm going to use CompTIA, right? CompTIA A+, 1101 and 1102. That's just one goal. But some SODers like to submit two goals because they think it's two separate, like, has to be done separately. And they can request they can request 1101 and 1102 off of one goal. So we have been rejecting multiple goals for the same exact credential, because if they're not finished with one goal, there's no need to have multiple goals. It just clouds up their accounts. So we reject those. If there's stuff that is wrong in the current goal that they submitted, all they have to do is submit, like if they put in the wrong quote or wrong information, they can submit a message through Army Ignited to ACAPO and with a new quote, and we will upload that for them. So we'll add that in the chat in here just a second, just to make sure. Or actually, Kristen, if you could, they need to submit an Army Ignited message using the Credentialing Assistance Office category. Very important that they do that to that category, because sometimes they'll send it to finance or to their counselor, and it'll never come to us, right? So it must be very specific Credentialing Assistance Office category. Okay. Let me see. And I have a hand up. Go ahead, Carrie.
Hey, so I was talking to a soldier the other day, and they were interested in several certification or boot camps, basically, and they didn't see a list. Like, they were able to find us as a vendor when they submitted their education plan, but they could not see a list of all the classes that we offered. Was she just missing that, or do they no longer have that ability to see our full catalog?
So you entered all of those into Army Ignited?
Oh yeah, I have our entire catalog in Army or the AI portal, and they said that they couldn't see them.
Right. They don't see it like that. What they see is they select, let's just say you do, sorry, I got to keep on going to CompTIA because they're just easier to, if you see like A plus, Security plus, Network plus, you have all of these courses, right, that you're adding into the AI portal, and you see it all in one list. The only way they get to see it is when they select A plus as the credential, or Security plus as the credential, Network plus as the credential. That's the only time they're going to be able to see what you have to offer.
Do they see pricing at that point?
They can see pricing when they go to like explore a credential. They can actually see the pricing there.
Okay, for the specific vendor, like do they have a list of vendors and different pricing based off the certification?
So let me see if I can just, I'm going to pull this up for you so you can see what I'm talking about. It's easier to see for me to explain it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Oops. Let me just move over here. Sorry. Hey. One second. All right. So when a soldier wants to explore credentials, right, they would just click that. And let's just say, and I'm going to just throw it out there, PMP. It's pretty easy to, wrong. The officer. Maybe it's this. Okay, right here. If they find a credential that they're like, oh, I just want to go, I want to use this one, they can hit view, right? And then it's going to pull up prices for whoever offers that training or exam, right? That is how they actually compare.
Okay, thank you. That helps a lot. I had no idea what that looked like, so thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And the only bad thing about this is that it also it adds in here vendors that are actually not vendors for Army. They might be Air Force. So that is why we always tell them you must go to the approved vendor list in Army Cool, because that is what's going to be, that's where you're going to find whether the vendor actually offers it for CA. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So then I see a question from John. Will the 90 days ever be extended to 120 days or more days to allow more time for processing and approval? So we continuously look at what is going to be, what is best for all, right? So when we allowed it to be, hey, you can request up to a year in advance. Then we found that, okay, nope, can't do that because vendors change prices, classes can be dropped, credentials can be removed, and then that soldier is waited for so long. So with the 120 days, it just helped with reducing those issues that we were starting to see with soldiers asking for something way, way out in advance. I hope that answers your question, John. And then, okay, William Hill asked, is there a guide to help the soldier through the process and that we can access? Well, absolutely. I'm glad you said that too. Let me just show you. And this is Army Cool is a public site. Anybody can access it. You can access it from Chrome. You can access it from Edge or Firefox, right? So all you have to do is you come to the Credentialing Assistance tab. And from here, there is related links. There is a soldier CA process guide, vendor CA process guide, the policies, the approved vendor list, brochures, any added or removed credentials, right? So this page right here has all the information on the CA program that soldiers and vendors need. Again, it is a public site. Anybody can access it. You can download anything from this page. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to bring up, and I forgot to record it, so hopefully everybody that was there this morning will be able to listen to this also. But the other thing that's going to take place is we are getting our own counseling cell, and it's going to be for soldiers who are having these issues. Okay, so stay tuned. I will put that out, more details on that, and it'll be just for CA for them to help when it comes to issues where they can't, they're not sure how to do this, or like some have said before, like they say they're approved, but maybe they're just not in the right place. Well, this cell will help them. So it'll be on this page somewhere. So stay tuned. It's coming. Hope I answered your question. Okay. Nero said, what is the process for submitting a grade when soldier finishes the course before the selected end date in the portal? And yes, unfortunately, it's still an issue. I'm glad you said that too, because they do select their own start and end dates. That's not something we control. The soldiers select that. And they don't really realize that, yeah, right now on the other side for you all, you can't add the grade until that end date is passed. That is something that's in the works. We're still waiting for this to be updated to where you're able to upload that grade. Should you be the one to receive it, right? But you would be able to add it earlier. It's just not here yet. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, okay. Let me see. Ned asked, is there a way that a student can click on a link to the vendor's website within Army Ignited? We as vendors do not see this on our vendor listing in the AI portal. So if you have a link in your submissions, they should be able to go. Well, I don't know if honestly, I don't even know if they can click on your actual link that you add, but they can copy and paste it from there. So if you put that in the description, they should be able to get to your page that way. I hope that answers your question, Ned. And then you're welcome. Kristen asked, are we able to see that screen to see if we've been rated? I think you are. As far as the ratings, the only thing that we can see is, let me see, where did it go? Yeah, we cannot, we don't know. We're still trying to figure out who has this and why aren't we all able to see this prior to it going up? That is something that also is in backlog, because we don't really believe that there should be ratings in here, but more to follow on that. That is a work in progress. Okay. Our pending invoice report shows a large number of pending resources. Are payments being paused due to the looming debt ceiling? Nope. There is no looming debt ceiling at this time. So that shouldn't have anything to do with cases that that are needing to be paid. If you're in this section right here, download authorization or payment or I'm sorry, processed, you select that payment, you'll have that here. All right. Okay, so we got through that. Questions on that one? Let's go to receipts. Okay. So once payment has been made, it's time to upload the receipt. The authorization code is found on your receipt. Once you charge that card, it's found on your receipt. It's usually a 6 or 7 digit number. It can be called approval or transaction code, or you just make up your own thing just to be able to get a code added to these things, right? Okay. Then you're gonna, once you enter the code, you enter the date. And then you're obviously gonna have to save that receipt to to your desktop. And it has to be in a PDF form. But once you do, right? So here's a big note that we wanted to put out that we heard this morning from finance themselves. When adding a receipt to the AI portal, if you have to run transactions separately, that's fine. The PDF must be merged into one receipt to be uploaded within the AI portal. If not, you will not be able to submit more than one receipt. So please merge your receipts onto one. Make sure it is a PDF and make sure it's no bigger than 4 megabytes and then upload. Okay. Any questions there? And Carrie, you still have your hand up. Do you still have a question? Okay. Now he's trying to figure out how to do that, how to lower it. Okay, moving right along. Still have vendors that are trying to refund without a request from Acapulco. Please don't do this, okay? We will always send you a request for a refund if it is deemed necessary, okay? Or if it's like before the start date, we're going to request it at that point, but please don't request it sooner than that. There is a process that, you know, that we have on process that finance has, and when you send stuff to them without them knowing where it came from, it just causes a lot of issues and a lot of research. So please don't do that unless we ask for it. There are times where even if a soldier says, well, I need to withdraw, okay, got it, it must be done through the Army Ignited system. There is a part in there where it says, you know, the vendor needs to provide a letter. That only applies to TA. Unfortunately, we share that same, you know, recoupment area. So it's kind of blanket. But for vendors for CA, you do not have to provide a letter to the soldier when they're trying to withdraw. What they just will do is they'll upload the DD form 7793 in those optional areas. So don't worry about that, okay? Please do not create invoices. We talked about that. And we understand that the verbiage does make it appear as though you can, but please do not. Only finance creates invoices. So again, please stay away from that one page. Like when you on your home page and you see it, you want to click on those invoices, please don't. Just do it the way we had asked earlier. Otherwise, it'll make you create an invoice. Kamika says, is there a way to look at soldiers who were approved prior to this process so we can reconcile our books? We have created some invoices in error previously. Yeesh. Well, I would say prior to this process, prior to this system, or just the way we're doing things now, Kamika? If it was in the old system, I don't think we can do that prior to how we are doing things now. Oh, have you tried going into the reports Because if you try going into reports, you may be able to pull up things that are older. And I'm not 100% sure. It's something to try. No problem. M. Hardy said, we have some clients who say that they have approved requests on their side, but these requests never make it to finance. What should we do in these cases? We normally tell them to contact the AI help desk. Yeah, the AI help desk is not where you send them. You would send them to our Army Ignited messaging box using the credentialing assistance office category to request that. Again, sometimes they say they're approved, but they're not reading the messages, right? So the message, when they select a goal and it is approved, that just means that they selected a credential, but that doesn't mean that they completed or submitted a CA request. The message that we put in there tells them, this doesn't mean you have an approved CA request. This just means you've selected a goal. It's time for you to, create your CA request. Hope that helps. Oh, thank you, Kristen. Okay, so let me see. If dates are before 1 April, please don't do anything with them. That's something that finance has to take care of or delete out. If you do not charge the card by the start date, it will be deleted. Like I said, we are trying to send out messages like if we know we'd rather not reject a soldier's case. So we've been sending out messages because we know that there's some that have had issues with their accounts, and it's not your fault that your account is not working properly. So we send out these little warning messages like hurry up, charge the card, because we don't want to delete the soldier's case, right? Okay. Here's an issue we found, right? Just using one vendor because it's happened to this vendor, right? The soldier's trying to submit their CA request, okay? They selected the vendor, and as soon as they try to select the vendor, this is the message they get. The institution you've selected is not valid for this type of funding. That is happening to several. I don't know why, but it has happened to several soldiers. So I do want, for those of you that say soldiers have said they're approved, but or they can't find us in the system, just a couple things you can tell them. Make sure that they spell your name the way it is listed in Army Ignited, right? The other thing is ask them, are you getting a red bar? What does that say? If they say, well, it says this, right? Or you get a screenshot that says this, the solution is you have to submit a help desk ticket, and you got to let them know that you need the exam center selected. Again, this is something we have nothing to do with. It's on the help desk side. We cannot see it. We still don't even know where it's at, but they will select that for you, and then this will be resolved. Okay. So that was one of the biggest issues lately we've run into. That one, and the other one was what was it? Oh, the finance technician. Yeah, that was the other one that was like giving people, they weren't able to see this right here. They weren't able to see this payment button. So they had to ask to get the finance technician added to their permissions. Okay. All right. So that being said, what questions do you have on anything I just went over? Nothing? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to turn this back over to Mr. Gray. But for all of you, I want to say thank you very much for all that you do for soldiers and for all of the, patience you've had with us. Really, really appreciate that. You guys are amazing. Really appreciate all that you do. So back to you, Russell.
Thanks, Sophia. And I'm gonna I'm going to echo what Sophia was saying. We really appreciate everything, each and every one of you do on a daily basis for helping our soldiers. It is amazing to see the number of soldiers that go through each year and are able to obtain their credentials and licensures, and it's because of people like you. So thank each and every one of you. If for some reason you have additional questions that you need to email us about, there's our contact information. Or if you're looking to see if you're looking to add new credentials to your portfolio and you're looking to see if they're approved on Army Cool, you can use the link right there. Also, to get to the credentialing assistance page, where every month we'll send out a message to all of our approved vendors to let you know to go check the approved vendor list to make sure it's current. There's the link there. If for some reason you want to use the Army CA logos on your websites, make sure that you look at the guidelines for DoD logos and also send those in to us prior to use so we can make sure that it's being represented correctly. If you're having SAM.gov issues or cage code issues or need to update your information on your cage code, because most cage codes expire every year, you can go to sam.gov and make sure you're staying current with that. And of course, if you're having trouble or you have a new individual who's looking to get into the AI portal, make sure you're using the link there and provide them that. The help desk information is also there at the bottom for everyone if you may have questions about it. Do we have any last minute questions that may have jumped in there? I know I see Sophia and Kristen answering a couple. Next slide, please. Perfect. We don't have any more last minute questions. We're going to give you about 30 minutes of your time back here. This will be provided to everyone that was attending today, as well as all of the approved vendors. We will go in there and make sure this video is sent out to each and every one of you. So again, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for the great commentary. Thank you for the great questions. And we look forward to continuing to serve right alongside with you. Thanks for what you do and have an outstanding day.